So up front, it's very difficult to put the real cost savings.
Well, and I think the problem is it, you know, you need, and you know, very old term, but the whole holistic approach, in the fact that, you know, any one of these technologies individually is unlikely to get you to the point where it makes a significant difference. It's the aggregate of all the technologies, including high bandwidth comms, the ability to store data, clean up data, analyze data, do the analytics, and ultimately make a decision which is different than you would have done if you didn't have it.
Yeah, okay.
And that's the issue. So when people come along and say, you know, machine learning can give you this, or analytics can give you that, or high bandwidth comms can give you that, well, you can only do the analytics and machine learning if you actually have got the instrumentation, you've got the communications, you've got the storage, you've got the ability to QA, clean up your data, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So how do you distribute the value from the business case across that suite of technologies?
No, that's a great point. And you don't actually get the benefit until they all come together. It's sort of like the bucket with a hole in it.
You get a limited benefit. You get a limited benefit. And what you see in the history of this is, you know, there are a number of key enabling technologies there which do unlock this. And, you know, if you dial all the way back to the early days of digital oil field and integrated operations, the one key technology that unlocked everything was bandwidth. You know, and if you know, because, you know, if the data was stranded on your platform, on your operational site, you were kind of stuck. And that still is the case in some operations in remote locations, especially land-based operations. It still seems to be a bit of an issue. It's still an issue, you know, in remote offshore operations. But, you know, you can see the history of somebody like, you know, ConocoPhillips Ecofisk. You know, they started with 10 megabytes of bandwidth in 2003. They went to 30 megabytes, they went to 50 megabytes, they went to 100 megabytes, they went to 300 megabytes, and they went to a gigabyte.
Yeah, okay.
And what you see is that the first 10 megabytes allowed them to do a certain amount, which then justified, you know, the value they attained, and then managed to justify by you know, doing, you know, unlocking the bandwidth. And, you know, now we're in the fortunate position that if you've got a fiber to your offshore platform or to your onshore operation, essentially bandwidth is unlimited.
Yeah.
And you know, it's only expensive if the commercial provider or the local entity, you know, telecoms, government entities make it expensive. You know, I mean, once it's there, it's relatively low cost. And certainly for all new greenfield projects, if you're laying a pipeline, the cost of laying a fiber on the back of the pipeline is insignificant. So those things are going away, unless you're somewhere trying to develop something north of the Falklands or something, you know, in which case you've still got a problem. But it is surprising, you know, where, you know, when I was still working for BG, we visited Karachaganak in 2008, and they had full fiber, you know, to Karachaganak in 2008 in the middle of nowhere in Kazakhstan.